What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. Gates has the day off, so I'm stepping in to do a lovely interview with the CEO of the company that you guys have been watching in terms of Apex Trader Funding. Trader Bacon Show starts right now. Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now. Darrell, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to kind of have this conversation. I know you and I have been kind of talking back and forth. I know Cameron's been involved in discussions as well. So I'm glad we could kind of do this interview and kind of like a conversation between two pals.
Yeah. So this will be, I'm very excited to be on the show. And Gates has been doing an awesome job. And so it's sort of cool to come on and talk about the company that he's been talking about.
Yeah, and we like to have successful traders come on, and obviously not only are you the CEO who's leading things down at Apex Trader Funding, but you also go ahead and trade yourself. So I kind of wanted to get an idea in terms of like your trading background, why you started Apex, and kind of different things like that. So I guess I know I've seen the interviews that you've done in the past, but for the folks at home that haven't, right. You started Apex Trader Funding about 2 years ago, but why exactly did you want to start that?
Well, I've been trading off and on. I've had my good years and bad years, like everybody, right? And I built a company. I built videos for my daughter so she could learn how to trade when she was just being born.
Yeah.
And Gates actually is the one that prompted me building an education company out of those videos because he wanted to use those videos. And so I've known him for quite a long time. And so built this education company up to, really build a community of traders where we all learn together, and we build systems together.
Yeah.
And built it. I was like, if I'm going to build it, I want to build it the way I wish somebody would have built it for me. So we get like the first month free, the second month's $1. Come in, try it, see if it's for you, not $10,000 to see what's behind the curtain, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so obviously going along in that, found out that a lot of traders, one of their biggest challenges was having the funds to trade. They didn't want, or they had the money, they didn't want to risk their money to trade. They didn't want to risk their retirement, their kids call it savings accounts, things like that. And so I went ahead and I tried out a bunch of different futures evaluation firms. And one of them I found I sort of liked, and then sort of didn't like because they changed the policy on me. And I'm like, again, I want to build this. I decided, I'm just going to do this myself. Yeah. And I'm going to build it the way I wish it would have been built for me in the beginning. Yeah. And so, really built by traders, for traders, not just built to be an evaluation company.
Right.
And, but one that actually has a path to being funded in live accounts, Yeah. And so we have, evaluation process, and then we, put them in a performance account and evaluate them there. And then we move them into a live account that, that they have consistency. So, and so really put the whole thing together to have low cost. And my goal was actually to have the highest payouts. I noticed most companies didn't want to post payouts, or their payouts weren't really that impressive. And so we've, just been growing and growing on that. And it took off. People loved it, and people talked about it. A ton of people flooded in, and we've grown like crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the payouts, because when we were, doing the sponsorship and kind of looking at working together, one thing I noticed is on the bottom of your page of apextraderfunding.com, you have a resource called payouts, where you list the payouts that you've done. Obviously not by the full name of the individuals, but it looks like you got the first name and then the city and country, right, or state and country that they're from. So that's kind of pretty cool that y'all go ahead and do that. Now, do you still trade yourself though?
Yeah, of course. Yes. Yeah. I trade futures mainly. So I trade some options and stuff like that as well occasionally, but mainly futures. So,
and do you have like a strategy that by the way, it's interesting. I'm going to go back in terms of like, hey, I want to go ahead and provide funding. So I'm trying to be like you when I grew up, in the sense of like, hey, I want to do this. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and flip the switch and kind of create this company. I think that's kind of really cool of you. But going back to your trading though, like what strategy do you kind of look for? Or do you look for, actually, number one question, do you like to chart based on the tick or the minute? I like to ask that question to everybody.
Based on the tick. So I use a bar that I made called diagnostic bars, and they're the exact same size.
Okay.
So, there'll be like, say, 10 ticks on NASDAQ,
Yeah.
Okay, and 10 actual like ticks up or down,
Yeah.
and so not tick charts, but more like a Renko bar almost. I don't
Okay.
know if you know what those are. And basically, what that does, it allows it to be a very clean chart. To me, time doesn't make a lot of sense
Okay.
because time is based. Like, why does time matter? I mean, it's a measure of the Earth rotating around the sun. What does that have to do with the markets? You
Interesting.
know, and
Yeah.
so, but what does matter is movement. And so, I want to see the movement in the market, not just like one big bar on a 5-minute chart, and then one little bar, one big bar.
Yeah.
So that's been something that I've really been drawn to. I've traded for a decade. So
I'm waiting for TradingView to have tick charts because I want to get
I
into it, but
know, right?
they won't provide it. And it's like I could use TOS for it, but it's kind of like I want to have one stop shop is what I always like to look for.
Right.
Okay, so you like to use a tick chart, or you have your own bar that you've kind of created, which is pretty cool. Are you more of like a swing trader, a day trader? Like, give me a little insight on how
Oh,
you like to trade.
definitely a day trader. So I do two types of trades. I have one trade called Simplicity. That is my trailing trade. Where I actually go for bigger moves. And on that, what I'm doing is I'm going in and looking at actually the difference between price action and implied volatility from options, and seeing like when the options are telling me the market's going to go up or down versus
Yeah.
when the price is going up and down. When they line up, then I go with that. And again, that's Simplicity. And then I also do a lot of scalping, and that's a strategy I call Sniper. And it goes in and it basically uses a combination of order flow and, uh, basically it's sort of like a book map, right?
Yeah.
So order flow and footprints. So it uses a combination of those with algorithms that I've written. And then, I had programmers program it, but I wrote the algorithms out on, the measurements I wanted and everything else. And as a community of traders, we came together and tested a billion combinations out, came down to basically 5 setups that we use. And that determines exactly where we get in, where we get out, where we take our stop, so it's all very black and white.
Yeah.
And then the advanced part is just learning how to read the levels in the market to know when to not take a trade, which I think is one of the most important things as a trader to learn. Most traders are really good at coming up with systems, but they're not really good at coming up with not to take a trade that their system gives.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's been a big, thing to learn and to teach is when to not take a trade, because maybe like there's 4 levels right here. You don't want to take a trade right into that, especially for like a scalp or something like that.
Yeah.
So
That's
that'd be a
definitely something
great way to take a,
that like
retrace
I
off.
struggle. Yeah, that's definitely something I struggle with in the sense, and I feel like a lot of traders do in the sense of like I'm here, I kind of see a setup. Maybe I'll just risk 1/4 of my size, or they
Right.
just want to get their. I don't want to say they're fixing, but they're trying to itching to like kind of get into a trade.
Yeah.
Is definitely something that they kind of do. Before I kind of move on though, on that tick chart or the bar that you have set up, what like is it 2,000 ticks or like what is your preferred?
It's literally a 10 tick movement from top
10
to bottom.
Wow. Okay.
So, but it's from top to bottom. So
Got it.
it's not ticks going up and down,
Yeah.
in the bar.
Yeah.
So it's like it'll literally be like 10 ticks of movement up, and then that's
Got
a
it.
bar. So every bar is the exact same size.
Oh, okay. So I got it. Got it. So every single bar is 10 ticks, and then that's how you kind of go ahead and chart it and different things like that. And it's interesting because I'm looking at the NQ right now. I'm just like waiting to see if it's going to break back above 15.4 or not. But let's kind of move on to
I got it
Apex.
Right now.
Yeah. I've got, just to like see where traders are hard too. So we'll have a conversation, but in the corner of my eye, I'm also kind of paying attention to this, right? I'm also like waiting because I'm not gonna lie. Apex is the reason that I was like, okay, I'm comfortable trading futures because there's a different mindset when you're using someone else's money, right? It has a little bit more of a peace of mind of like, okay, if I lose, I'm losing Darrell's money,
Right? Well, that actually is. As funny as you say that's a massive advantage, not for us, but
yeah,
but it is a big advantage for the trader. It's a psychological advantage because it puts you somewhere in between that demo world where you don't have to worry about blowing up your account,
yeah,
and that live world where you can actually get a paycheck,
Yeah.
And so I think it allows a lot of traders. We've had a lot of traders that have gained success. Now, obviously, there's plenty that haven't,
right.
But a lot that have gained because of that psychological advantage of being able to not have to have that worry of like I got to go put another $10,000 in my account, if I
Yeah.
blow it up today,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, risking our money.
Yeah, and it's definitely a peace of mind. And by the way, Gates, enjoying the day off, but helping support the stream as well. I appreciate it. You've got a lot of love coming in from a lot of different folks as well. So appreciate all of you for tuning in. Let's talk about payouts, because I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to prop firms. It's like, yeah, cool. It's easy to take the eval money and go through the process and have a PA account and all of that. But how much in total, right? You started the company, I believe it's about 2 years. I think your anniversary is coming up here.
Yeah,
In
like
2 years,
literally this coming like on the 14th. So in
on
like
the
3 days.
14th. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. That's why we planned it, the way that we did. But in the 2 years that's coming up.
I love October or October 14th. I don't know. That's
Okay.
actually this September 14th. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. I promise we do our research. Unless the person told us wrong, then then we'll throw them under the bus on air. No, but in the 2 years though, how much have y'all paid out?
We actually just passed, because I know you asked me the other day, it was 39. We actually passed 40 million paid out. So, which is pretty exciting because we paid out like 8 million last year.
So majority of that is in the past 12 months.
Yeah. So really exciting that, I mean, we've grown that much. My goal was to, multiply those payouts. And that's again, my goal again, going forward, is to multiply those payouts. And, that's sort of the whole point, right, of a funding company. To me, it's like funding companies get caught up in policies. Here's our policy. Here's what makes us better. Here's our new rule. Here's all this. We're going to do this kind of entertainment. Whatever. They have all these little things that they're going to do to try to attract you in, right?
Yeah.
But the bottom line is you're there to take money out. That is literally why you signed up. Was to take withdrawals. And that's like the first thing on our page. Here's our withdrawals. And that's why we list all the withdrawals to be very transparent. And that's why I built Apex, was to make a company that, actually paid out, and to pay out, more than really any other futures funding evaluation firm out there, by multiples. And, like 19 million of that's in the last 90 days. We're now averaging about 4 million a month. I think the last 2 months we did over 8 million.
Wow.
So per month. So we just did 4 million here in the last 11 days. So, so we have more payouts coming this month. So it's really it's growing, and traders are, they go through it. Sometimes they have to go through it a lot. Some of them, I mean, they just go through it once, boom, done, making money. Others, they have to go through it quite a few times.
Yeah.
And we state we're very transparent that it's challenging.
Yeah.
But we definitely obviously have people doing it and, taking money out.
So. I've obviously traded with Apex, with, the funds provided. I've gone through the eval process. I got a PA account, and then I blew it. I'm not the only one that's kind of done that as well. So, you get data on the back end, and I'm interested to know what's kind of like a theme or some type of consistency in trading habits or whatever you see with traders that fail, whether it's on the eval side or whether it's when they get funded.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, like what are like the bad habits that you kind of see?
The bad habits
like
of
from traders
yes.
make
Gotcha.
that just continuously blow accounts. I can speak for myself, but I'm one individual amongst the thousands that have signed up with y'all.
The number one mistake is people try to make it in one day.
Guilty.
Literally, like, I just want to pass now. Trying to make it in one trade.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, reset, because like they don't feel the pain because they're not having to refund refill the account.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like it's a minimum of 7 days. And I mean, we may drop that, make it less, but like it's not like you're not required to pass in a day. Trading is not about now; it's about over time building.
Yeah.
Next biggest mistake is trade too large. So, they go in and they can trade 10 contracts. So they do trade 10 contracts. Just because you can trade it doesn't mean you should trade it. That's there for when you build your account up, and you have a big cushion.
Right.
So, and then let's see what else. They don't take profits. So they'll be up like $5,000 and they'll let it come all the way back. They don't manage their profit. It's like, put some trails in there,
Yeah.
Like I see a lot of that. So those I'd say the three top things. Try to make it too fast.
Yeah.
And they did. And here's the big problem. And I had no problem sharing this stuff. When they do pass in one day, because they will eventually after enough tries.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe the first try, maybe the 10th try. Whatever.
Yeah.
But then they try to go and make a whole bunch of money in one day in the PA.
Yeah.
They sort of reap whatever they did in eval. They usually reap. They're like, well, I'm not going to do the same. I'm going to be more careful. No, they aren't. They do the same thing. And then they blow the PA in one day, and it's like, take your time, and trade smaller, and just let it grow. Like, I mean, that's how trading works. Take your time, trade smaller, let it grow. The size is there for when you have earned the right to use it. We don't limit you. We're going to let you trade your way. But it's like the traders who have been like Vince, who pulled out over $1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, like top trader. And we even have, we have another guy which paid $750,000 here, in the last 30 days.
In a single payout, right?
Yeah, one payout. That's one payout.
Insane.
And so these guys are trading like $300,000 accounts that can trade 35 contracts, and they're trading 3.
Wow.
Okay. So they're trading very small, and they're just letting it build up over time. They use the multiple accounts, all that stuff, but just trading smaller and willing to have that patience.
Well, here's a solid question from the chat. And by the way, chat, feel free to ask questions, and I'll do my best to get them in here. Can we ask Darrell when we should up our contract size? But I feel like there's not a formula. But what methodology would you have someone coming from an educational background on when they should up their size?
Okay, my opinion. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Because obviously I can't advise.
Yes.
But my opinion is not until you're in PA. So trading small all the way through your evaluation.
Right.
Trading small in your PA. Getting your trailing stop to stop. Because remember, it stops as soon as it hits $100 plus the starting balance there, right?
Yep. And
then build up a buffer. And once you're like at least double that amount. So let's say you had to make, I don't know, let's just say $2,500. Once you're like $5,000 out of $50K account, then maybe you go to 2 contracts. And then you just build it up. Then maybe you go to 3 once you're at like say 10,000.
Yeah.
And if you go back down in your amount, you make a withdrawal, you pull a couple grand out, whatever, like then go back down in your size. You don't get to keep trading 3 if you pull 2,000 out. And now you're back down here. Like make your size appropriate, and then be willing to downsize quickly and stay downsized until you do it. What I like to do in my own live trading is wait until like literally one time a month. So at the end of a month, if my account has grown, then I will up my size. But I won't up it like constantly, like throughout the month. I'll wait until like one time a month I'll up it. And that keeps me very slow. It makes it where I don't get aggressive, because the problem is as soon as you up it, you can now lose it twice as fast.
Yeah.
Like if you do 2 contracts, right? Or 3 times as fast if you do 3 contracts.
Yeah.
It's like one time a month, like up it if you have the profit in there, and again, you got to account for any withdrawals you've done. So
that's a solid answer. And, going back to what you mentioned in a sense of, hey, folks try to make everything up in one day. They try to hit it big with a home run, or folks try to take on too much size, or they don't take their profits. It was kind of like you looked into my account and in my mind, because that's something that I struggled with, right? Because I had a $50,000 PA account, and I've also had a $3,000 eval account. And that's something where it's like, man, I've never traded with this. I'm going to go bananas with it. You know what I mean? Because I spent like $100. It was great. Y'all have, by the way, y'all have an 80% sale off, so folks can take advantage of that. Use save 80 as a promo code. So to me, I was like, and I was like, cool. I get to play with, a certain amount of money. 7,000 was a trail stop for paying $100. I'm going to see what I can do. And so, you definitely get into those bad habits where you might have gotten lucky and you passed the eval, but you're not going to get so lucky when you get to the funded account, and then you're just going to blow it up. And then you're right back.
You're starting all over again. Right?
Yeah. And you're right back to where you were.
And that's not what we want people to do, obviously. So, but I mean, we do let them trade their way. I have an education company.
Yeah.
But one thing I've done is I decided whenever I started the funding company to make it separate. Now I have like it and several other education companies. Any education company that recommends our service, we'll put on there. Whatever.
Right.
It's hey, we are not affiliated. This is not
Right.
us.
Right.
Because I wanted it to be separate, so there wasn't any kind of conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Going on. And I think that's really important that funding companies be funding companies.
Right.
And they leave the education to education companies. Now, even if it's the same guys running both, you can separate them out.
Yeah.
So, and we have a lot of education companies that send people to us. So it's not really right for us to go and take all the education.
Right.
Like, oh, don't even go to their trader, go in our trader, So, we try to keep that separate. We try to be above reproach in everything that we do.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It's just, I think there's a lot of different ways to do it, but if people will just slow down, I've said it a million times on Facebook and on webinars, and it's like, just slow down. And I remember Vince, he literally said that was the turning point. I had a phone call with him, and because he was, he was turning some accounts. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you got to slow down. And I was like, you just lower your contracts and keep them low. I was like, dude, you can trade, but you get so big. And he's like, that was the turning point for him. I was like, when you get sick enough of blowing accounts, then you'll slow down.
Yeah.
And he got sick of it. And then he started doing it right. Boom, 7 figures in payout. So
that's awesome. Well, looking forward to having, I don't know if Gates has talked to him yet, but if not, I'm looking forward to that conversation between him and Gates, because that's definitely some, a lot of tips and tricks here that we can learn from Vince. You also, allow folks to copy trades in the sense of you can have multiple accounts where you can go ahead and get I believe it's up to 20 accounts of like a $50,000 eval account or PA account or whatever. And you can copy the trades from one account to the other ones. Why would some folks go ahead and do have, let's say, 6 $50,000 accounts versus one $3,000 account, right? What are the benefits
or one
of that
$300,000 account?
Yeah, because the same buying power there.
Right. Well, there's the same buying power. Technically, you actually have more buying power because you can do 6, 7. Well, yeah, it's about the same. You're right. So, you actually have 60 contracts versus 35.
Correct.
But so you actually have more buying power, but you don't want to use all that buying power, right? You want to keep it small. The big reason is there's 2 reasons. So I'd say the secondary reason is that you get to spread out your risk instead of doing 10 contracts, and losing, let's say $1,000 in one account. So now you've hit your drawdown of $2,500, like by $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Or your $7,500 drawdown by $1,000.
Yeah.
You do let's just say, to make it easy, we'll say 10 accounts. Okay.
Sure.
You do 10 accounts. You do 1 contract in each. You lose $100 on a $2,500 drawdown. So you still have $2,400 left.
Right.
You have $7,400 left over here.
Yeah.
Right. And so it really gives you more drawdown. Now, it also, of course, can multiply your profits, right? But that's no different. But it can multiply your losses.
Right.
But the biggest thing is if you'll trade small, and that's the whole key, then it lets your drawdowns not hit you as quickly.
Yeah.
The primary reason that I hear a lot of traders do it is the psychological edge of seeing I lost $100.
Yeah.
Because they're paying attention to one account and they're copying.
Yeah.
So versus saying I lost 1,000. So yeah, in reality, yes, they lost 1,000. They lost 100 times 10 accounts, but they also had a $25,000 drawdown by having 10 accounts. Technically, $2,500 times 10, right? So the psychological advantage, I think, is the biggest reason I hear that people like having multiple accounts, because they can not only spread that risk out, but they see a smaller amount.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And that's kind of, Gates kind of nailed it as soon as you said it. And that's the same reason that I would think of as well. It's kind of like, okay, because the number one reason I believe, and I have no stats to back this up, but the number one reason I know that I lose trades or go on like tilt mode, if you will, is because the emotions kind of take over. You're like, oh, I lost on 2 contracts. Well, I have the buying power to do X, Y, Z. So I'm going to double up. I lost that. Well, I still have room to do this, the other. And before you know it, you've kind of dug yourself into such a hole where you're like, all right, well, I can't even see the sunshine anymore.
Right.
So like the psychology and emotional stress that folks take on is the biggest thing. So yeah, seeing like $100 loss versus 1,000 or anything like that is definitely that's helpful. And yes, there is going to be a giveaway, Paul. So if you'd like, you can actually go ahead and fill out that Google form. It's quick. It's nothing crazy. We just ask you for your name, your email address, so that we can go ahead and, one, see if you're a winner, and two, know where to contact you with the promo code, which gets you a free eval of your choosing. And then it gets you 50% off of the next month as well, if you still need some time to go ahead and pass. And if you don't win the giveaway, you can always take advantage of the 80% off sale that Apex is having at the moment with Save 80. That'll get the trick done as well. We've got a few more minutes here. You're 2 years in the business with Apex. What are you hoping Apex will be when you're celebrating, call it your 4-year anniversary or your 5-year anniversary? What's like the vision that you're hoping Apex Trader Funding will be at?
Really, I think it's just a continued improvement in customer service. We've grown really fast, so we're constantly hiring, we're constantly training. I think we're going to continue just to grow, and I want to multiply those payouts, so quite a bit. Be passing 100 million type thing, so which would be pretty cool. We were doing 8 million last year, and now we're almost doing 4 million a month. It'd be pretty cool to be, if we're doing 40 million, now. It'd be pretty cool to be doing 20 million a month,
Yeah.
So just really, multiplying that. We're going into other countries. So expanding that out and, working on different languages, stuff like that. So I think that's going to expand a lot. We already have about 30-40% of our traffic from other countries. And then, one thing that is big is, just continue to be, I'd say, like we focus on futures only. Right? We don't focus on Forex.
Yeah.
We don't do Forex at all. We don't do CFDs, which are off contract commodities.
Right.
We stay away from those. Stay above reproach. We use other platforms to manage our data.
Yeah.
We use other platforms to manage all the order flow. So we have no access to any of that.
Right.
And so just stay above reproach, and then be very transparent about all of our policies. And continue that transparency, like showing those payouts, showing things like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing in the industry as a whole, as companies are going to have to become a lot more transparent. And, just be very, like, lay it all out there. This is how we work. This is how we operate. This is what we do. This is what, this is what we pay out, stuff like that. We have, our pass rate, everything like listed on our sites. And, I think just continue that transparency, that growth, and to try to, and we work with, regulated, brokers where we put our live funded accounts. And we actually just added on another live brokerage. So, cool. So, we'll probably add a couple more. So we have multiple partners where we put the live accounts at. And, like I said, there's a process. They go through evaluation, they go through a performance account, and then they go into a live account. And, but I think just continuing that, and hopefully, just a lot more people in live accounts.
Yeah.
So
would you ever, and again, this is not like, hey, is Apex heading this way? This is just you as an individual, as a CEO. Would you ever want to go into like equities or anything like that? Or are you just happy with futures and that's what you want to be the biggest and the baddest at?
Yeah, I think we're just going to stick with futures. I don't really see us moving into other markets. I am talking to one of our brokerages about doing a little bit different program. It's not really an evaluation program, but for traders who, have some funds and want to trade equities, where they can go in and they can put in like 50 grand and have like, $500,000 in buying power. So that is actually an equity and options program we're looking at doing. Now, we're not so much doing that, right? We're handing them off directly to the brokerage.
Interesting.
So, but allowing for those who are really, big into equities and options, and they want to, basically just multiply their buying. I mean, we're talking like way better than,
your 4 multiplied margin account.
Right. Your 4 multiplied margin account, or, any of the other margins that are out there.
Yeah.
Way better margin. And really, you're just risking your money, but they have the capital and they can put it up, and, they get a percentage, right?
Right.
But if you're able to trade 10 times as much, then, let's say you keep 80%, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And so, so I'm looking at adding that as a option for people to make people aware of and flow into that. So it's not so much an Apex Trader funding thing as it is just trying to open up options for people that are looking for, expanding their like, dude, I love trading. I trade Tesla is up 10% today. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And if I could have had 10 times the position, even if it was like, say, options, right?
Yeah.
So I could have 10 times the position. Then, man, I could have exploded. It's like, so, okay, well, let's take your money instead of just have 50 grand at this brokerage, put it over here, have 50 grand of risk, and which you have anyway, right? But now have 500 grand or, whatever, $1 million of buying power. And
that would be insane.
So that's something we're actually looking at again.
That would definitely be insane. Gates has done so many interviews with successful traders where the thing they say is, hey, I was a successful trader. I had a winning formula, a winning strategy, but I didn't have the capital to make an income out of it, to have a savings out of it. And that's where that additional kind of funding comes into play. So that'll be exciting. We'll definitely keep an eye on that and see how that kind of comes to fruition. But it's been a great conversation so far. I kind of want to give you the floor in case there's anything that you wanted to talk about with the viewers. We'll kind of, after that, we'll do the giveaway announcement, but the floor is yours. You can talk to our viewers about anything you want, anything I may have missed to bring up.
I think we covered most of it right there. We covered the background. We covered where we're at, where we're going. Like I said, we have that Save 80 coupon for today and tomorrow. 80% off all evaluations, all sizes. Make sure you fill out that form to have a chance to win. And like I said, stick with companies that are transparent. I think that's just a big thing in light of recent news and everything else. And that, put everything on there. And, that do futures alone, I think is a very important thing. But yeah, we got people begging for all sorts of discounts. But anyways, I think things are going really well. I'm very excited about it and look forward to a strong future.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I'm just getting the winners here for us real quick. They're going to be a little bit differently formatted, but there they are in the chat. I'm going to assume that that's just not, you spelling, maybe the pronunciation is different just so you could get an eval account. I'm going to assume that's not you that did that, Darrell, but those are your winner.
I don't know what that is.
You've got access to your own promo codes if you wanted it, but those are the winners here. I've marked them. I've got your email addresses. As soon as I get the promo codes, I will go ahead and send them out to you by the end of day. If for some reason I forget, you can always email me at zunaid@benzinga.com, and I'll be sure to get you your promo codes. Again, that is absolutely free for any type of eval that you would like. And then you can get 50% off of the next month if you don't pass it in that meantime. Or you can just go ahead and use Save 80 and get 80% off of any eval that you're kind of taking a look at. And it's funny, Gates is in the chat saying something's missing. Look, I'm just keeping the seat warm for you, but we will be back with another lovely host, yes, and also guest to go ahead and continue taking the throne back from Trader Bacon. But Darrell, thank you so much for having this conversation. I really appreciate it. I look forward to doing it again whenever you hit your next milestone. And congratulations on 2 years of success with Apex Trader Fund Day.
Hey, thank you for having me on, and thank you for the show. It was great.
Awesome. Talk soon, pal. See ya.
See ya.
Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday